I have a lot of movie tickets. I've been collecting them since 2015. And I've kept nearly every single one from the last, 6 or so years. I think it's a good way to store memories of my theater experiences, whether they be positive or not. I saw Chris Stuckmann make his ticket video, and it reminded me how many tickets that I have that I could be showing off, and I couldn't really help myself. So this video is very much inspired by Chris Stuckmann, if you couldn't tell already. So I just thought I would go through some of them and talk about some of my theater experiences in a similar way that he did. Yeah, let's get into it. So one of the first ones I have from 2015 is Pixels. I remember seeing this movie by myself in the theater because at the time I wanted to be a film critic, So I just went to the theater to see Pixels because I knew it was going to be a bad movie, and I was like, all right, I got to talk about some bad movies. I got to go to the theater and see some bad films. I don't really do that anymore. The next one I have is The Visit, a very underrated M. Night Shyamalan film in my opinion. It's a horror comedy. I think a lot of the movie is supposed to be comedic. At least that's how I see it. But I feel like some people took it too seriously, Like, some people thought it was supposed to be, just a full-on scary film, and I don't think that's what Shyamalan was going for. I mean, he certainly had some scary stuff in it. And the movie is scary when it needs to be scary. It seems like something that could actually happen in real life, Like, it's not a supernatural horror movie. It feels like something that could actually happen. And I really like the movie for that. It's such a wacky movie, and there's no other movie like it out there. Next I have Star Wars The Force Awakens, or as the ticket says, Star Wars TH. This is one of the best theater experiences I have ever had. The Force Awakens was extremely anticipated. I've never had a movie that I've anticipated more than The Force Awakens. It had been 10 years since a Star Wars movie had come out. It was going to be the first time I'd seen a Star Wars movie in theaters, and it was just an insanely hype time. I just remember seeing that movie and being so happy. I know a lot of people say it's just nostalgia bait, and I can understand some of those complaints, but I still think it's a really great movie to this day. Next ticket I have to show off is Hacksaw Ridge, and this one was significant because it was the first time I'd seen a rated R movie in the theaters. I had seen rated R movies before this, but this was the first time I went to a theater in order to see it. Hacksaw Ridge is a really good movie. I haven't watched it in years, but that was definitely a significant theater experience for me because, like I said, first time seeing a rated R film in theaters. Batman v Superman. I know a lot of people really love this movie, and, power to you, but I don't like it at all. I really don't like it. I recently did that Batman ranking where I put it very low on my ranking. And I'm surprised I didn't get more hate comments or dislikes on that video because of that. When I first saw the movie in theaters, I thought it was okay, but as time went on, it just got worse and worse, unfortunately. La La Land. This was another significant theater experience because this was my most anticipated movie of 2016. I saw it on Christmas Day. For whatever reason, people at my college seem to really dislike La La Land. I think it's great still. I haven't watched it in a few years. I need to change that. I need to watch it again. The next ticket I have to show off is The Fifth Wave. I just took a picture of that because I thought it was funny that I kept that ticket. Yeah, I don't remember anything about it. I just remember it being one of those bad movies that I saw in theaters because I wanted to be a film critic, Rogue One. This was another very anticipated movie, and I still think Rogue One is pretty good. I enjoy it quite a bit. Suicide Squad. Yeah, not the James Gunn one. I'm talking about the original Suicide Squad. I just remember making a review for this back in 2016 where I gave it an A-. I was in such denial about how bad it actually was. I was so excited to see this movie for whatever reason. And I was just in complete denial. I didn't put it on my Batman video, but if I did, it would probably be the lowest. Split. This was another significant theater experience for me because I was so blown away by that twist. It's one of the best twists in film history, in my opinion. I think it's Shyamalan's second best twist under Sixth Sense. The movie isn't just good because of that, though. There's a lot of other reasons that I really like this film. I did a video on the East Rail 177 trilogy if you want to check that out. But Split was really cool to see in theaters. I also have this Lego Batman ticket. I just thought it was interesting that it has 3D on it. Apparently we saw a 3D screening of Lego Batman. There were always 3D glasses at the theater back in the day. Back when Avatar was coming out. everyone was seeing movies in 3D, and now you don't even see 3D glasses at all. They're just not in theaters anymore. Nobody likes 3D anymore. I wonder if it'll make a comeback with Avatar: The Way of Water at the end of this year. Spider-Man Homecoming, I remember this being a big deal at the time because it was, bringing Spider-Man into the MCU for the first time. That had a lot of hype behind it. And I still think it's a pretty good movie, especially Michael Keaton. I think he carries that film. Thor Ragnarok, this is one of my favorite MCU movies still to this day. I think Thor Ragnarok is hilarious. I love how it kind of makes fun of the first two movies because I don't really care about the first two movies. I'm excited to see Thor Love and Thunder. I think Taika Waititi can do no wrong. I've loved every single movie that Taika Waititi has directed. And yeah, I'm excited to see Thor Love and Thunder. Beauty and the Beast, a really underrated Disney movie. I'm talking about the remake, obviously. A lot of people didn't like the remake to Beauty and the Beast. I actually thought it was probably their strongest remake. I think the remake is really good. There are some parts that drag a little bit. I think that's my main problem with it, but otherwise I think it's nearly as good as the original. This is a Last Jedi ticket. It's kind of faded. I wonder if it went into the wash or something or just didn't print right. But this was the Last Jedi, fan screening. That's why it says Last Jedi fan on it. But you all know how I feel about The Last Jedi. It's one of my favorite movies just in general. And the first time I saw it, I had a bit of a mixed opinion of it, but it definitely grew on me more and more and more as the years have gone by. Hereditary. This was my favorite movie of 2018. It's amazing. I can't sing its praises enough. It definitely inspired me a lot at the time and was a big inspiration for my horror movie, Paul. Ari Aster has been a pretty significant figure in terms of inspiration in my filmmaking career. Avengers: Infinity War. This is obviously a movie you see with a crowd, and the crowd reactions are a big part of that experience. And I just remember the end of the movie where everyone fades away being there was audible gasps in the theater. People were audibly upset. And that was kind of the same thing with seeing Endgame, is that you could hear people's emotions in the room. You could just feel it. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. This was a very disappointing theater experience. I don't like either of the Jurassic World films. In fact, I only like the first Jurassic Park movie. Lost World Jurassic Park is alright though. I think that's a decent movie. I hate to be a negative Nancy, but the other Jurassic Park movies have not worked for me. I'm kind of excited to see the new one though, just because of the original cast. Bohemian Rhapsody, this was a very disappointing movie. I liked it when I first saw it, but again, it was one of those movies where the more I thought about it, the worse it got. It just kind of took Freddie Mercury's life and made it into a very generic biopic. Annihilation. I actually don't remember this movie very well. I saw it once in the theater and never watched it again. But I remember really liking it at the time, so that's cool. First Man. Now, this movie is really, really underrated. It is Damien Chazelle's third theatrical film, and I think it's super underrated. It definitely has similar themes to his other movies, like Whiplash and La La Land. The Damien Chazelle trilogy is about trying to accomplish your dreams and the cost of accomplishing your dreams. How, when you're going for your dreams, you lose a lot of things along the way. That's what all three of his films have been about, and First Man is another really good addition to his filmography. I can't wait for Babylon at the end of this year. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I've talked about this movie enough. It wasn't a fun experience. I don't enjoy the movie, but I'm happy for people who do enjoy it. I don't want to detract from that. Toy Story 4 was a great experience. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, to be completely honest. I just think it is severely underrated. Shazam. I don't think I've ever talked about this movie on this channel. Really good movie. I'm excited for the sequel. It's one of the best movies in the DCEU. Not that there's much competition, but David F. Sandberg is doing a really good job. It definitely feels like a Sam Raimi comic book movie where there's horror elements here and there, but it's also very fun and just energetic. Midsommar, the other Ari Aster movie on this list. I think, along with Hereditary, Midsommar is a modern-day classic. You may not know that he made Midsommar and Hereditary back-to-back. He filmed them back-to-back, and it was a very stressful time for him, but it's super cool that that was done. Not only that, but if you watch any interview with Ari Aster about Midsommar, he will explain to you that it's based on his own personal relationship issues that I used to have with somebody. The fact that you can make this creepy cult movie out of a toxic relationship is really interesting. And it definitely inspired me at the time to take my own personal issues in my life and make them into movies. And you can see that in my work. Midsummer is insanely good, especially because it's a movie that's about real life horror. Like, these are all things that could really happen. There is no supernatural in this, it's all real life. Now, this is actually a ticket for a screening of The Wrath of Khan. But it wasn't just a screening of The Wrath of Khan. It was a screening of The Wrath of Khan where William Shatner came out after the movie and talked to the audience. Like, he took some questions from the audience. He just kind of chatted to us. And that was really cool. It was really cool seeing William Shatner live. The guy's like 90 years old now, and he had so much energy. Onward. Now, this ticket is significant because it's the first movie I saw at the beginning of the pandemic. So this was like right before things started getting really bad with the pandemic and theaters pretty much shut down for a while. Onward was the movie I saw before all that happened. So this was, yeah, there's a big gap of time where I hadn't seen anything in theaters after this movie came out. Old, yet another M. Night Shyamalan movie. There's some good parts to this movie, and there's also some bad parts. It's definitely a bit of a mixed bag, but I enjoy it overall. I haven't watched it since I saw it in theaters, but it's a movie, that's for sure. And that brings us to the most recent movie I saw in theaters, which was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This movie was awesome. It pretty much gave me everything I wanted. It was really great seeing Sam Raimi get back in the director's chair and direct another superhero movie. It was just really good. All right, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane. I obviously didn't go through all the tickets because that would have taken forever, but I went through ones that I thought were significant. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. I made a short film in 2021. Check it out by clicking the link in the description. I'm also working on a Christmas movie, and I have an Instagram and Facebook account for that project, so go on over and follow it. Also in the description. Thanks, everyone.